What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today we have some very sad news, because the numbers are out for Marvel's Avengers in terms of how much it actually cost, or roughly around how much it cost to make the game and how much was sold, and now it's basically starting to kick up that fear that we were talking about the other day, right, as to whether or not the devs for this game would just basically be forced, okay, not even out of choice, they'll have to be forced to just pull the plug for the game. So we've got a ton of stuff to talk about, but I want you guys to let me know in the comments below, what can you see for the future of this game? And before you comment, I want you to take into consideration that the next gen version of this game was delayed, okay, so it's almost like they can revive it by that launch. So let me know what you can see for the game in the future in the comments below. As always, drop a like, and just a heads up, don't forget I'm co-hosting on a channel at some point later this week. I believe it's now scheduled for tomorrow, but it's a channel called Profited, where we're going to be talking about things like six-figure side hustles, how to invest money, how to make money on the side of your job that you may currently have, and a whole bunch of stuff regarding that. So it's more business related and entrepreneurship, but it's something I'm really passionate about. So if you are too, then please go ahead and just subscribe to the channel, because it's going to be really cool. So the link for that is in the description below. But nonetheless, let's dive into this video, because the news comes from David Gibson that says the following: Square Enix reported a yen of 6.5 billion loss for HD games driven by Marvel's Avengers, but they wouldn't say how many sold, but that volumes were 60% off the plan, and it implies that the game cost over $100 million to make, but only sold around $3 million or so. Now David then updated that tweet by saying, it looks like the total cost of the game is closer to $170 to $190 million, given they only expenses of 70% of the cost in the first quarter, plus marketing costs. Now, we do know marketing was very vague, but when it comes down to TV spots and so forth, that's what cost a whole bunch of money, right? Then it ends up by saying why someone didn't stop post the multiplayer beta will remain a mystery, but Square Enix are adamant that they can make a recovery. Now, this is what we've been talking about over the last couple of days, right? In yesterday's video we were talking about it, in the video the day before we were talking about it, and back then we didn't even have these numbers, right? So yesterday we found out that there was a problem with the marketplace update, and then the devs start refunding players for that. Then they done an update in the weekly blog, basically teasing what's in the future, I guess, vision of this game, right? And we were shown like 156 missions and the war table. But then prior to that we were talking about, is it time to uninstall the game because it just lacks content? Now, I've never made a game in my entire life, but when you look at all the legal things in place, we don't know how long the contracts are, right? It's a live service game, so I guess it's going to vary compared to other standalone games, I guess you could say, that are heavily, let's say, single player focused, right? So that being said, the contract, let's just say it could be on an assumption of like a 2-year contract, right? Don't forget to have all the rights for these characters. On top of that, all the rights for the future characters that are going to be added into the game. We know that Square Enix have that exclusive deal with Sony to bring Spider-Man to the game. Of course, well, around at some point next year. It was meant to be March, but now we just have absolutely no idea when that's going to be the case. But we know that that's going to be an exclusive to PlayStation users. But now, of course, it comes to the question of, is that deal even worth it? I've always said that this game isn't going to be Anthem, right, because it's Marvel's Avengers, but now it literally is following in the exact same direction as Anthem. Here's the thing, and this is why I was saying at the beginning of the video, before you comment on what you thought the future for this game could look like, to take into consideration of the next gen launch. Now, we already know that Square Enix are super adamant that this game is going to bring players back. Now, I've always said it before, right, since the get-go, as much as it sucked, right, to see the next-gen version of the game be delayed, it was a smart business move because I really think that's the only thing that can save this game. If we did not have next-gen consoles coming out, right, more or less they're out now, if that wasn't a thing and this game was released in like 2018 or even like the first half of this year, then I just don't think it would have been revivable, I guess you could say. But now, going on the basis that we do have the next gen, there's so many things that can get tweaked. We're talking graphical, we're talking things they were limited to, but most importantly, if they want this game to succeed, this is what an ideal roadmap in terms of everything from basically changing the engine and so forth would go in my head. So the first thing, which is absolutely crucial, is to have more maps in the game that we can explore. That's another thing that just got a lot of players bored really quickly. Second of all, the graphics I'm not really too bugged about because I think the game looked decent, photo mode was great, but of course with next gen, yes, they can definitely amp that up. When it comes down to gameplay mechanics though, that needs to be tweaked a bit, but most importantly, with this vision here going on with more, I guess, like challenges, weekly challenges, we already know DLC and the cloning lab stuff, so let's put that aside. I just think there needs to be something in the game in terms of a game mode that needs to be fun, even if it's waves in basically something that's not the harm room, right? Just waves in a certain part of the map, or something fun where you can switch characters in the same mission. Certain things like this can really go a long way. But it's safe to say, after these numbers were out there, that it was sad to see, but that's where the fear that I've been seeing a lot of people have been talking about in the last 24 hours, that they might just go ahead and pull the plug. But being completely honest with you guys, we know this relaunch, like I said, on next gen, and the delay, it's basically to bring the game back to life, right? However, also, which is a smart thing, is if they delay it to when they're going to be releasing things like Spider-Man, right, which would be a wise thing to do considering the Sony exclusive, right, again, driving more sales. I think we're just going to basically see Spider-Man when that happens. But if the game has a rocky launch again on next-gen consoles, right, with that relaunch, whatever they're going to do with the overhaul of this game, if that has a rocky launch, then I think the game is done. And I really hate to say that because I'm a fan of the game, I love the game, but from a business perspective, it just won't make sense for the devs to keep pumping the game, well, with content, right? Because I said earlier in the video, they heavily are relying on this marketplace. So if people are not playing the game, people aren't going to be buying things in the marketplace, right? They need those microtransactions. That's what's going to keep the game pumping. But if the microtransaction sales are ridiculously low, like we know the sales are now, right, then is there any point as a whole pumping things like new DLC content, new game modes and so forth? Because don't forget, at this moment in time, they're doing this for free. So if they weren't to pull the plug and we went down the road of not having any sales for the game, no microtransactions as a whole, right, then they could just go ahead and completely switch around the fact that they could start charging for DLC content. But again, that's a complete different field, and they've already promised that they won't be going down that road. So it's really hard to say at this moment in time, but like I said, seeing that news was sad news for sure, but we'll have to wait and see what's going to go down. But guys, leave your thoughts on this in the comments below, subscribe for more awesome content. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day, and until the next one, adios amigos.